I am back live. Hey everyone, welcome back. Art T. Bear here, and I am going to get back into inking page 1 of Chrono Mechanics. So this is part 2, and just had a wonderful dinner that my daughter and her boyfriend made up. Chicken and noodles. It was very, very, very good. So now I have some homemade tea that I'm sipping right now. And I'm sitting good. I'm sitting pretty right now. So let me show you what I'm going to be working on. And if there's anybody in the chat, please chime in. Let me know you're out there. It always helps. I get a little nervous about these things. All right. There you go. This is what I'm going to be working on right now. This is from Chrono Mechanics. It's my my new book. I'm going to go live next month with. It's called Chrono Mechanics Retrofit. And so this is page 1, and this is the Chrono Inc. offices. Hey, Peter's back. Hey, how are you? Hello. Hello. All right, so I got a lot of inking to do, so I'm going to do less talking. Hopefully everybody that was in the last inking stream will come back and will watch me finish this thing up. So, hey, Kevin, what's up? Yes, let's see. Get my inking bearings. I was just getting warmed up too, just before dinner, but it was worth the break. So sorry it was so abrupt. I was thinking I was going to get more time between inking and dinner time. They got the food done fast. Okay. So I think I'm going to keep it small since I got my fine nib out. See if I can warm up again. Get my ink legs. So everybody in the chat, welcome. And if you have any questions, fire away. And I will ink this bad boy up because I need this for the Chrono video that I'm putting together with the help of Van Klaus. He's going to help me put the video together. So I need to get all the pieces done and in line for him to do his magic. If you don't know Von Klaus, he has a book, a brilliant book that looks really amazing. It's called Monster MD, and it is in demand right now. So go, not right now, don't go right now, but once this stream is over, go check it out. You like what you see, pick up a book, man. It looks really interesting. He's a really great guy too. I like this group of people. Shinto's back. So I'm going back into the dot patterns here that in the last stream I was showing you guys. So I got to keep all these little details thin. Otherwise, they get a little overbearing and it becomes hard to read. So you really have to be careful and prioritize the line weights for readability. So the penciler on this is the Great Render Contender. And it was based on, let me see if I can find it again. My little thumbnail, my thumbnail doodle. So if you guys haven't picked up on it, Chrono Mechanics is about time repairmen. So a lot of the themes and stuff have to do with construction and maintenance and repair. So the actual offices and headquarters of Chrono Inc. is a giant bolt. I thought it was fitting. What else would it be, right? So yeah, don't want to lose out on any of these details. These are ships right here. So these are the Chrono time ships. And these are docking bays right here for the individual ships. And this is where the repairs and everything are done. So yeah, this I'm hoping to have the video wrapped up by the end of the week. I really do need to get all the pieces to Von Klaus though. So my wife's downstairs right now. We worked earlier on the video script for Chrono, the opening video that you have to help sell your book. So I think the script is pretty good. We have it in a pretty decent place. It's just a matter of fine tuning some of the sections, and then finding. I have a lot of the visuals already in a file saved. I just have to figure out how all the visuals are going to work with the script that we're doing now. I have a pretty good idea how to do it, but I'm never 100% sure until I actually go to do it. I think that's the fun of the creative process too. It's just kind of the not knowing. Where are we going? I don't know. I have no idea. Just like me inking right now. I have no idea where this is going. I kind of have an idea. I'm just goofing around. I'm just goofing. The dot dash technique takes a little bit of getting used to, because you can't just throw down straight lines. You have to pull back, and remember, some of it you have to start, stop, start, stop. And it's a little bit of a different movement than I'm used to. But for the next couple of months, I'm going to be sleeping, drinking Chrono Mechanics. So I'm sure I'll get this down at some point. So let me check the chat in a minute, see what you guys are up to. Get my glasses. Ooh, Farmer Dan, Andrew J. How are you guys? Chrono Mechanics should have Chrono Trigger references. I don't know, man. When I heard that thing, the Chrono Trigger, I was like, what the heck? What a bunch of ripoffs. Because I definitely had this out before them. And Andrew J, hey there, Art. Howdy, y'all. And Farmer Dan says, hey, Art, if you need help with learning how to ink, I could give you a few tips. All right, Farmer Dan, I will do that. Hey, we have Albino, the Thunder Buns. It's the man, the myth, the legend, RT Bear. Yeah. Hey, Junkyard Done. How are you? Man, you are like the big spender of Comicsgate with all the auctions and stuff. I don't know if you've picked up anything by me yet. I should know that, but my wife handles all that, the original artwork stuff. That, and I have a horrible memory. All right, is that enough dashes for you? I'm going to ink some of these small little ships. I know what this ship is. It's the foreman's little skiff that he tools around, Chrono incorporated in. Here's the little engine for the ship. I should just ink one of these complete ships so you guys can see what it looks like, because sometimes the blue lines are hard to see on camera. Sometimes they're hard to see the ink as well. So Render did quite a bit of work here. And there's perhaps more detail that is printable here. That's the one thing. I believe he works digital. And it's the one thing about digital, it's kind of a catch-22. Sometimes you end up, because you can blow things up so big, that you end up doing more detail than is humanly possible to ink, and also that's not really printable. So there's a lot of detail on these ships. It's always good to have more information than not enough, though. So I do appreciate having all this information here to work with. So there's the basic shape of the ship. So let me get the top of it. Yeah, everything about this style is all freehand. So not a whole lot is ruled out, unless it's a really big line that needs to be structured. But even still, I'll only do pieces of it, and then I'll go back to freehand to keep the style intact. But sometimes you have to do that to keep the structure. I think I did that on a previous video where I was inking the Chrono cover, and I pointed some of those things out. So it's coming together. It's a lot of little details, man. This thing looks awesome. So working with Render Contender on this, the hopes are that it will come along a lot faster. And so far, so good. He has 2 pages, I think, that he has done based on my layouts. And I believe Narwhal, if I haven't announced it yet, Narwhal is doing the color work. And let me think, he did 5 original, and then he just turned in 4 more. So there's 9 pages with full Narwhal coloring, and they look fantastic. If you guys don't know, there's a, I think in the description, there's a link that will take you to the pre-launch page, the Chrono Mechanics pre-launch page. You can sign up there, and you'll be eligible for all kinds of exclusives, possibly some freebies. I'll be announcing those soon that you can get through the early sign up. And if you guys don't know, just to back up a little bit more, this is going to be my next Indiegogo project. It's going to be called CHRONO Mechanics, and it's a story about time repairmen. And so the idea is, it's, I guess, a nutshell, it's H.G. Wells meets Looney Tunes. So it's a pretty broad, humorous action adventure, comedy that has a lot of sci-fi elements and time travel into it. I always think that time travel is one of those weird subject matters that, for my taste, it usually only works in one and done type stories. And if it's going to be ongoing, it only works as a comedy, like something like Rick and Morty or something like that, or what is the other one? Futurama, these type of things, because there's all kinds of contradictions and craziness that come out of time travel. And if you try to play it too straight, you're doomed, man. Like the Marvel Universe, they introduced time travel to their world. Good luck. Good luck, Marvel. That's all I have to say. Better minds than yours have failed at this. When executives start going, you know what? Let's franchise Terminator. Yeah, best of luck, man. Best of luck. Those things only work usually in 2-hour adventures that you can get in and get out. And then you can make all the rules work for that 2 hours. But after that, if you try to keep it going, man, it gets incredibly challenging. And most of the time it ends up failing miserably. The only one I've ever seen work fairly good is obviously the 3 Back to the Future movies. And number 2 it wasn't a great movie, but I believe most of the time travel stuff worked within the reality that they set up for it. It didn't contradict itself. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I really don't know. But from what I remember, it seemed like it was pretty self-contained. But also, I think when they put the second and third together, they wrote it at the same time. So they had an idea where it was going. I don't know. How do you guys feel about this? Okay, is this a time travel story? Is Planet of the Apes, is that just kind of an Elseworld story, or is it kind of a time travel story? In the chat, say yes if you think Planet of the Apes was time travel, no if it wasn't, and we'll see what you guys think. Because I kind of go back and forth on that. I don't know, but if it is a time travel story, I think weirdly and inadvertently they wrote 5 movies? The original 5, they wrote them pretty well. They seemed like they connected pretty good. That's another franchise I haven't seen in a long time, so I really don't know if it holds up. Let's see. No, it's not. Okay. So then what? Is it just an Elseworlds tale then? Because they kind of go back and forth in time, like, or do they just go to no, it is. They go to a different timeline, right? They go to a timeline where apes are the dominant species, right? I'm talking about the original Planet of the Apes, not the newer stuff. Because the newer stuff, I don't think they get into any of those things. And that was disappointing for me. I thought the new ones were pretty good, but I didn't think they were as cool. I like sci-fi, and they had sci-fi elements, but it didn't feel as cool as the original. Let me finish this, and then I'll check the chat. I saw a lot of N's, so I think I'm being overridden here. Okay, no. So there's a lot of no's. It is time travel. The sequence eventually brought apes back to current time on Earth. That's what I thought. Like it's kind of a full circle. It's not. I don't know. It's not quite a classic time travel story, but it does have time travel elements into it. They kind of backtell how the apes became dominant on the Earth. It's set in the future. Yeah, but they go back into the past, though. Like, I'm talking about all the movies, not just the first movie, but all the movies. They kind of go through time, because after the second one, they get into a space capsule, and then that Cornelius and his wife, his pregnant wife, they get in the capsule, and then they get lost in that same like time vortex thing, and then they end up in our time, I think. So there is kind of this weird time travel where they're in this time travel loop where apes eventually evolve and become the dominant species. So I don't know, man. This is getting kind of heady. This is more heady than I intended for a drawing stream. But I think the planet. So Albino chimes in here. I think Planet of the Apes is an alternate timeline story. It works in that context. Okay, yeah. So it is kind of time travel, but it's an alternate story as well. But aren't all time travel stories, don't they become alternate? Well, I guess if not all of them affect time, because wasn't like Back to the Future was like you can't. I thought you could. Oh no, it was you could affect time. Yeah, so they did affect time, because when he comes back in the first movie, when Marty comes back, his parents are changed. So he did change them in a small way. So yeah, wormholes. Yeah, wormholes are you're out. Yeah, it's like a time wormhole that they went through. So Claudio says, wait, it just flipped. It is time travel, a loop. Cornelius goes back in time, and their son becomes Caesar. Yeah, and he's the one that overthrows the humans. Yeah, and they become the dominant. Yeah, so it's a weird, like, future affects the past, and then the past becomes the future. It's, I don't know. I haven't seen it as well, I saw it as an adult, but, I was a young adult, and I thought it held up pretty good, but I haven't seen it, like, in 20, 30 years. So let's see what Durakin says. Planet of the Apes is set in the future, but go back, into the past with the last movie where they bring back the two ape scientists back to present day, and the kid is Caesar, who starts the sequence. Yes. I remember the TV series. I remember vaguely the TV series. Like, I don't think they got any of the time travel right. They were just scientists or whatever that were stuck in the Planet of the Apes time, right? They didn't get into any. I don't think they got into any time travel stuff in that, other than that's how they got there. Wasn't like Planet of the Apes the original movie? Was that written by Rod Serling? The Twilight Zone guy? I know he had something to do with that, at least that first movie. Yeah, the new Planet of the Apes I don't think were as much fun. They were good, but they didn't have the real time travel stuff involved. And I'm not talking about the Tim Burton remake. That was weird. The Michael Jackson monkey, that chick, that was weird. In a way, I liked it, but it was still weird. because they still did the humans in costumes, which was kind of, I don't know. I think it was kind of gutsy, to try to pay tribute to the original with guys in costumes. And for the most part, it was done fairly well. But I think by today's audience, it's a hard sell. The costume people are a little tougher. People are more sophisticated today. They like their monkey people digital. They don't like their monkey people in suits anymore. These little details, I can't talk. I have to focus. Wonder if my head's in the shot. I'm leaning in. See the top of my head. So that's what the top of an inker's head looks like. Now you know. Now you know. Knowing half the battle. Man, I can't wait to look at this thing. This thing's awesome looking. Can't wait to get it in your hands. October's the month, the time travel month. Yeah, I think time travel is a real, like in Chrono, we call it a fickle mistress. It's a fickle mistress, man. It's hard to take it on unless you're doing it in humor, in a humorous way like we are here. Because it's kind of, it's a tough road, man. Even some of the best writers get themselves into some major dilemmas writing time travel stories. I'm saying right now, politics aside, that new Terminator movie is going to be horrible. That one just before this new one, where they had that girl from Game of Thrones play Sarah Connor and all that. My gosh. You talk about somebody who doesn't even understand time travel, let alone like how to make that story work. Man, that thing was bad. And I'm just talking about on a time travel sort of, concept of Terminator. That movie was horrible. I mean, it virtually made all the rules that were set up in Cameron's films like a moot point, because as soon as you make it to where they can travel back and forth through time, like they can willy-nilly, or you set up some kind of rules, but you can still kind of go back and forth willy-nilly, and that's a technical term, willy-nilly, is you just screwed the pooch, man. Because in Terminator, the original, it was so well constructed that it was a one-way trip. You could only go one way. And so the bad guys sent somebody through and the good guys sent somebody through. It sounds like a comic book concept. Well, it kind of is. So then they can't get back. So whatever the trouble is, whatever they're sent there to do, they have to do. And if they fail, then they fail. If they succeed, they succeed. But there's no returning. There was no, like Kyle Reese, that was it for him, man. There was no, he knew it was a one-way trip, and they brought the whole romance thing into it, which was, it made it more of a believable, like, oh, the reason he goes back is because he's got a crush on that guy's mom. So it's a little creepy, but it kind of helps give that character a motivation. And also, since it was built in that he would be the father of John Connor, John Carter. That's another one. Is it kind of worked, but in the new one, well, the new one that's out, not the newest one that's coming out, that they were like, oh, well, you could travel back and forth. We made a machine that you can do this, and there's characters moving back and forth, and then there's characters that are like, oh, like the Terminator, I'll wait 20 years until you can, find me, or what. Like, it just got crazy and weird. Like, as soon as you can move throughout time, like back and forth, then you killed your concept, because basically it shits on the point of everything that happened. It makes everything pointless, because if you could go back before something happened, and let's just say you failed, then you could go back before that happened, and you can go back before that happened, and so on and so on. And I don't think they did a good enough job explaining why you couldn't do that. So to me, why couldn't you do that? They did it in the movie, I think. So I don't know. Some things are better left unturned. I think that franchise should just give it up. I'm going to go to the chat and see what you guys think. I love all the characters. I love the concept. I love everything about it. But, man, I don't know how you can keep that going as a serialized story. You just can't. Okay, Serling, yeah. Okay, so let me go back a little bit. Serling did the script treatment, but the original book was written by some French dude. Yep. In the 2000 Planet of the Apes, it's an alternate reality, it seems. But that's the Tim Burton one, right? Is that the two? It has to be. But it's not explicit. They hint at with the Lincoln Memorial, where it's kind of an ape, like an ape Lincoln. It's an ape Lincoln. My friend worked on that, and he's a special effects makeup guy. And he said that ending, they shoehorned that in. That wasn't in the original script. So some test screens must have said, this isn't enough like the original. We need another ending. So then what's his name shows up in an alternate timeline, which is apes basically ruling. And it's the same world, though. It's weird. Like, at least in the original, they created their own society. This was like, they inhabit the exact same world. So it's like the same history, but they're just a bunch of monkeys. Now I got a banana song in my head. What's the banana song? I don't know what the one banana, two banana, three banana go, or whatever. Hey, Arthur Brown, in the other chat, the other stream before this, I mentioned you, and I thanked you so much for your help with the video. So if you haven't heard, I got Von Klaus helping out on the video, and I just kind of asked him some questions, and I said, that video looks really cool. Did you make it? And he's like, yeah, I did the video myself. And I said, oh, because I was thinking of modeling my video after yours. And so one thing led to another, and so now he's doing the video. So thank you so much, Arthur Brown. You definitely helped out and got the ball rolling early on for the video, for the Chrono Mechanics video, the Indiegogo video. So I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for that. I saw T2 the other day. Still holds up. Yeah. My gosh. And you know what? The first Terminator works flawlessly with the second movie as well. What is that? That's not creepy. I have a crush on my mom, my son's mom too. Oh, that's kind of endearing in a weird way. It's cute in a quantum kind of way. Yeah, it is. But yeah, thanks again, Arthur Brown. I really appreciate it. This group of people, this Comicsgate group of people, are amazing. I feel like singing. What is that? That one vitamin commercial for kids, 10 million strong and growing. The Flintstone vitamin commercial. That's what Comicsgate is. It's 10 million strong and growing. You know, everyone's like, what do we call Comicsgate? What about an army? The Comicsgate army. They got the Kiss army. The militia. All right, I'm going to go back and thicken this because this is a pretty significant structure. And based on my other line weights, I can see that this needs to pop a little bit more. So never be afraid when you're inking to go back on some of the stuff that you've already inked, because I always say the creative process is not a linear one. So a lot of times there's back and forth involved. So you try something, then you go back on it, you try something again. So I was actually going, oh man, I'm close to getting done with all this detail in here. And then I looked at all these. Dude, I'm going to ink all these things freehand. You watch. It's going to blow your mind. Well, I don't know about that. So everybody doing good, I hope. Yeah, I'm going to be doing, well, hopefully I'm going to be doing a lot more of these. I have a lot of commissions that I have kind of in various forms of completion. I have CHRONO MECHANICS pages that need to be inked. I actually have, I can't now. There's so much I want to tell you guys, but I got to do it over time. But I have a lot of heavy hitters that are going to come in and help out and do some stuff for the CHRONO MECHANIC campaign. So I can't wait to be able to announce that. And I do have the pre-launch page. So go check out the pre-launch. If you sign up on the pre-launch, you'll be eligible for exclusives, and there's going to be some freebies as well. So, excuse me, if you sign up now, you'll be eligible. And so I think the pre-launch page is only going to be up for maybe another week, and then we're going to go live with it. So if you want those exclusives, please sign up now. They're going to be pretty cool, and there's going to be some freebies. So I wanted to kind of thank you guys for early sign up and believing in this project early on, because those pre-launch help you get numbers quickly. And one of the key to these crowd funds is to try to get as many eyes and backers on the project as you can as quickly, because then your algorithms go up and they get behind your project, where if you don't, you can just kind of fade into oblivion, which is, after 35 years in this business, is still a big fear of mine. And things do happen. It's not going to happen for this, because this thing kicks butt. But the overall success, I think it also just to set it up so that some of the heavy lifting is done early on, so there's not as much worry and concern. if you get early numbers. I'm very uncomfortable talking like this, but I have to learn to become more of a businessman in this regard. And get comfortable with, I said on the earlier stream, a YouTuber. I went out to lunch. My wife and I went out to lunch with some friends, and they're like, "What have you been up to?" And it's the first time I ever said. They said, "Well, what?" Like I go, I do YouTube videos and whatever. And they're like, "Well, what is that?" I go, "Well, I'm a YouTuber," and they're like, "Ah, YouTuber," and that's the first time I ever used that term in regards to myself. So after a year of YouTubing, I guess it's official. I'm a YouTuber. I'm just not, I'm not a, what do you call it? Like a current event type of person. So I think most of the stuff I do is going to be more personal tastes and likes, and then just a lot of artwork, just drawing and entertaining you guys with this type of stuff. I'm not opposed to those things. It's just, and I wouldn't say it's not my bag, but it doesn't come that easy. Some people read like all the current events and they're just really up on stuff. It's just not really my thing. I always admire those guys though at parties and stuff. They're like, they know something about every subject that comes up. Oh, well, the whatever. Oh, yeah, oil prices are whatever. Oh, yeah, stocks. Oh, did you hear about this football team? Oh, that musician passed away. Like they know all this stuff, and I'm like, how? How do you know? I can barely keep up with my family here. And if you guys make an old joke, I'm gonna swat you. Oh, it's because Art's old. He can't keep up. I've never been like that. Current events. Did you guys ever do that in school? They had current events. It was like show and tell. You'd have to talk about your current event. I like show and tell, though. And in some ways, that's what this YouTube stuff is. And I didn't think there were this much detail until I started inking it in. Hopefully you guys can see that. I think we got a good resolution. It's weird because this camera almost works better when there's very low light. And I don't know why. I'm not that tech savvy. But when I use the camera in the daytime, it kind of gets blown out. Like there's too much light. So at night like this, in the dark room, it works out pretty good. All right. Chrono Incorporated never looks so good. And if you guys just are tuning in right now, this is the first page of my new book, Chrono Mechanics, and the title is Retrofit. And that has a significant meaning. It has several meanings, but when you read it, you'll totally get what I'm talking about. And this was, let me back up a little bit. So we have this. And so I'm working with a brilliant talent. These are my layouts, by the way. His name's Render Contender. So I've been thumbnailing or doing doodles like this, scan them, and then send them out to him. And so then I had a conversation as well with him. He lives fairly close, so we've been hanging out in the studio here, which is very, very cool. I really like somebody here to where I can talk back and forth with ideas. So this is the thumbnail, and it was designed, Chrono Ink was designed as like a bolt or a screw. And so then we pow out. I told them where the quadrants, like the main offices would be in the center, and then the docking bays and the kind of where they repair the ships. The time ships are in here. And then the ship comes down into this little opening, and then they come into this cylinder here. And then each one of these are ports into different time streams. So then the ship gets shot out of these ports and into their respective time streams. So that's kind of the idea involved. There is logic to the concept, but it doesn't follow any hard, fast, like sci-fi time travel rules. Like I've been talking, I find that stuff, it just becomes, if it's not done well, it becomes a freaking headache. Like you're trying to figure out like how things work and you know, who's that person, how did they get there, and so on and so on. It just becomes a little too laborsome for entertainment. Like you lose the entertainment value if you have to think too much about it. And I don't like stuff like that. I mean, I don't mind heady concepts, but like I said, if it's time travel, it has to be done very well. Otherwise, it just, because I'm the kind of person that's going to try to find the logic in it and work through, like, oh, if that did this, then that means this would be that, and so on and so on. And I know there were people that broke down Endgame, the Marvel movie, but to be honest, I didn't care for the time travel aspects of it. I thought they were a weird shoehorned way to I don't know, get rid of Cap, like give Cap a happy ever after. Because otherwise, I don't know why it even existed. Like, you know, I think Hollywood gets in love with like going back and, oh, we're going to celebrate our own achievements. So then they got to go back and revisit, you know, some of the, like the first Avengers movie and some of the other movies. But I think it becomes too wink, wink, nod, nod. Like it becomes too self-aware in the worst of ways, like self-aware. Like it almost becomes, I guess, a parody in a way of itself, and it becomes weird. So I liked, what was it? The one, not Endgame, the one that was the Thanos War or whatever it was. I liked that movie. I thought that was awesome. But that Endgame was weird. I liked the beginning of Endgame where they just went in and they killed Thanos. Like that was the best part of the movie. They just went in there, boom, killed him, and then, you know, that was cool. But then the rest of the movie felt like, oh, we have to pay tribute to, you know, our first decade of the Marvel Universe. Like it was too self-referential. I don't know. I'm going to go to the chat because I'm talking a lot of smack right now. And I want to see what you guys think. And while I'm doing that, check out the giant nut. The giant nut bolt. Okay, so albino. Oh, it just moved, so I can't read. Art find. I find these days. I might have to go back further. You need a co-host, brother. Is it that bad, Arthur Brown? Oh no, you need a co-host. Do you have any suggestions? Artie Bear, I find these days, if I do too much work on too little sleep, I end up missing stuff and reworking it later anyways, which costs me extra time. I don't know, this, like, sometimes, like when I was younger, I guess, and it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm inking, I could pretty much ink in a war zone. I've been doing it for so long. They read Rolling Stone. Current affairs are overrated. We like your tales from the olden days. Thank you. Thank you. My colon. Shinto Ketchup, just kidding. What did he say? Oh, the Rolling Stone. They read Rolling Stone. I don't know what that means. Oh, banana. Oh, Gwen Stefani. Oh, okay. I didn't go back far enough. The other half is violence. I saw T2 the other day. Still holds up. Yes. Okay, so I got there. So let's find out. Ray Thulu, is the live chat constantly disconnecting for anyone else, or is it just me? Is it just the chat, or is it the video as well? I hope. Well, I was gonna say I hope the chat, but I don't hope for either one. They're both bad. Arthur Brown says the time travel in Endgame was so das ex machina. Yeah. Dias. Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, it was clumsy. I don't know. I don't know. It seemed like it was Hollywood. It seemed like a Hollywood type idea versus like a cool sci-fi idea. It really felt like they were like, oh, you know what? We could go back and we could celebrate 10 years of the Marvel Universe. And then the only real story point that came out was, oh, we could give Cap a happy ever after. You know, we can give a happy ending kind of thing where he can reunite with weirdly the love of his life that he spent, you know, a week with. I don't know. I guess some people know. I guess it's a Hollywood trope, right? You know, the first glance that person is going to be your be all end all forever and ever. I don't know. And I've heard a lot of people talking, and there is some truth to it. I don't know how I feel about the Marvel Universe going forward from here. I really don't. I find myself kind of looking forward to, you know, the DC one and done Joker movie than I am, you know, I don't know, a Doctor Strange 2 or a Black Widow movie. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I hope they can. I mean, I don't want them to fail. I like that form of entertainment. So, I want that stuff to succeed. However, I don't hold out a lot of hope. Yeah, that was horrible. I said it. It's out there now. I can't take it back. The headline is T-Bear hates the Marvel Universe. I am really looking forward to a Fantastic Four movie, but based on a lot of the stuff that they're doing, I'm not real sure that they're going to be able to do it justice. Not sure at all. So I'm inking another time ship. Oh, if you guys haven't liked, can you please hit that like button? I would much appreciate it. And if you could, maybe tweet out to your friends your loved ones and let them know that some guy is doing some artwork live on YouTube. Just Some Guy. I used to listen to Just Some Guy. I haven't listened to him in a while. What's he up to? I used to like his thing. What do I know? I'm just some guy. I'm just some guy. So I will finish this up tonight, scan it, and send it out to Narwhal, because this is going to be used in the campaign. It's going to be used in the video. Oh, and if you guys haven't gone to the Indiegogo pre-launch page, the cover is up there with some cool quotes from various people through different timelines. And there are a couple panels colored by Narwhal that are up there. So both Narwhal and Render Contender are turning into two major allies on this project. And hopefully between the three of us, and along with my wife helping me on the writing, we can get this thing done in a timely fashion, which is what I am going to kill myself to do, because I want to stay here and make as many comic books as you guys will let me, because I got a ton of ideas and a ton of different styles that I'd like to throw your way. A ton. That sounds like an over-exaggeration. I don't know how many qualifies a ton. Maybe a handful. Maybe a couple handfuls of ideas. I don't know, do you guys find yourself like me, or like you have friends that over-exaggerate points? Like, there was 1 billion of them. Really? 1 billion? There was like 1 billion of them. They were all over the place. You find out there's like 12. There's 1 billion of them. Oh, you guys, I got a story, and it's going to make, well, I'm not going to preface it. I'm just going to tell the story. Okay, it's one of those billion of them type of ideas. So this is a segue. My daughter and I are at the movie theater. We're having a father-daughter date. She was a lot younger, and so I think we were just coming out of the movie theater, and we got a phone call from my wife, and so she's like, there are bees in the house. And so I'm like, yeah, there are bees in the house, whatever. There's like probably a handful of bees. And it's like, no, they're all over the place. There's tons of them. There's a ton of them here. And so I'm like, yeah, whatever. There's a ton of bees, right? So I'm rolling my eyes on the phone with her. And so then, we still, booked it home. So, I mean, we didn't take it lightly, so I made sure I still got home quickly. And so, my daughter and I are like, a ton of bees, like, in the house. What? Yeah, how would that? There's not a ton of bees, right? So we're just like, whatever. And so we get home and we get in the house. There's a freaking billion bees in the house. They were all over the place, man. They were like flying into the glass because I guess they thought they could get to the outside. So there were so many of them, you could hear pop, 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 pop. because they were just flying at the glass, and they were all over the living room. We have a vaulted ceiling. It's like 15 feet tall, maybe taller actually. And oh my gosh, it looked insane. There were bees everywhere. And so I'm like, holy shit, I'll never make light of you again. It just sounded too like crazy, right? You know, because you hear these stories like there was a billion of this, or there was a ton of that, or, you know, this big, you know, because as humans, we always want to embellish stories, right? So we always add to it. So what do they call them? Tall tales. So they always end up becoming bigger. And so I thought it was one of those. No, it was not. It was not hyperboil. It was not hyperbole. It was fact. And so we had to call an emergency. Like, there are these people, man. It's crazy. There's somebody that will do there is somebody for every job, even repairing the big machine known as time. There is somebody for every job in the galaxy. And so we called those guys out, and they got a ladder, and there's like this little pee hole in like between the wall and the ceiling, like there's a little crack, and they were getting through that. And so he sprayed this gas in the hole, and then I guess it was supposed to kill them. And so then he patched the hole. And so then we just had to wait, I guess, for the rest of them to die, because they were just trying to fly into the glass, and they were just killing themselves. It was actually kind of sad. And so then we're just like, what the hell are we going to do? And then we asked the guy, because he was just there to do the emergency thing. He wasn't there for anything else. It cost $1 billion to do this. See what I did there? It cost me $1 billion to pay that guy on the emergency fees to come out. And so he's like, this isn't it. He goes, they're in your walls. They're in your ceiling. They're in, you know, your house. They're just not, they're inside the walls and stuff. They're not in the house, but it's a question of time. They'll find weaknesses or they'll burrow in. I'm like, oh gosh. And so we called a professional out. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is nuts. This is nuts. They took part of the roof of the house off. They took the roof of the house off. They pulled, this is going to sound like I'm exaggerating again. I'm not. They took just like blocks of like, what do they call those? Those wax honeycombs. And they were just pulling those out. And they were, because they were breaking them off, they were probably like 3-4 feet by 5 foot. They were just pulling out huge chunks of these honeycombs, and they're in these bee suits and everything, because those, I guess what bees do is they'll fly, like one will fly by you, and if they recognize you as like being a foe, it'll mark you. It'll like put a scent on you. And so once that happens, those bees will swarm on you. So we had to stay far away, because all it would have taken is one of those bees to do that, and then they would have swarmed. It was insane. There were bees everywhere in the front yard. It was crazy. I had never seen anything like that before. We live, it's called, like the area is Sierra del Oro. It's a hilly area, and we're kind of in the mountains here. So we get all the cool stuff like deer and raccoons and cool possums and stuff, but we also get rattlesnakes and tarantulas and I guess militant crazy bees. I can't even say that Shinto ketchup. Billion dollars. Yeah, it was like $1 billion for me. I had to work a couple overtime shifts at the CHRONO Inc. I had to fill out paperwork. Nice segue to CHRONO there. Yeah, I do my best, man. I do my best, Arthur Brown. So Kevin What do you say? Did Cyberfrog come to the rescue? I don't know, but you know what, you guys? That book is shipping now. Who was it? Tug, I think, said he got his book. So I'm going to get my book soon. Woohoo! Woohoo! I can't wait to see that Chromium. It's going to be like the old days, like when comics were cool and covers were nifty. Yeah, I can't wait. I may do a review. I don't know if I have the cojones to review the book, though. I hope it's really good. If I'm going to do the review, I have to fall in love with the book because I could not say anything negative about Ethan's book. I know it'll be a blast. His storytelling has always been top notch, and his art and layouts are pretty stunning. I still want him to do just a black and white, but not just a black and white version of the book, but like an oversized 11 by 17 version of the book, so I could see the inks. Because I like his inks. I like the inks. They're pretty nifty. So here we go. I got most of the interior stuff done. There's a couple little machine pieces here. And I still have some detail on the ships. But for the most part, it is done. Yeah, this book is going to be amazing. And it's quite a departure from black and white. Not that black and white is overly serious, but it does have comedic moments, and it's a fun action adventure. It's not meant to be anything really overly deep or anything like that. It's kind of sensibilities like Big Trouble in Little China, something like that. It doesn't go that far, but it's kind of in that vein. And so Chrono Mechanics is really it's pretty fun. It's pretty out there, the concept. And I don't know if there's any hitchhiker guide readers out there or fans, but I pitched this around to different executives and stuff in the film industry. There was some interest on Chrono a while back, and so they would all say that it's like it would be an animated version of Hitchhiker's Guide, the Douglas Adams books. And I was like, oh my gosh, because I didn't see it at the time. You know, you create things and you don't always know where the ideas are coming from. And so as soon as that executive said that, I was like, oh my gosh, that is kind of what it is. So hopefully you guys are fans of that. But it's not quite as off the wall as that, but there are elements of it that are on par with that. So I love the radio show that the BBC did. The radio show is almost better than the book, and the movie was a major letdown. I don't know. I always had the theater of the mind when it came to the story, so I always thought it worked better to me as just my own visuals. So maybe that's why, Chrono happened, because maybe those were some of the visuals that Douglas Adams put into my brain way back when I was a young lad, when I had time to read. For entertainment. So Yeah, there's no dolphins that fly off the planet or anything like that. It doesn't get that crazy. Although it could. Wow, it's coming together. It's taking longer than I thought it would. So where are we at in the chat? I'm going to go look in my mailbox again. He says, damn it all. Where's my Cyberfrog book? Curse you, post office. Still waiting for mine, but hopefully soon. Yes, Kevin, soon. I think this experiment is fun. This Comicsgate experiment, the indie kind of revival, as they're calling it, is exciting because these things are more than just the comic. They're like events. They're a behind the scenes look, like stuff that we're doing right now, and stuff like that I think is very unique, and I've never seen anything like this before. So I think it's pretty interesting. I'm really happy here. Doing my drawings for you guys. Okay, I got to go back into my dot dash. The lines are diminishing. I'm going to have to start getting into some thicker, bolder stuff soon. I'm going to have to trade out my nib for a thicker one. Because all the stuff around here and this, I'm going to bring back that thicker pin nib. Because this one would just kind of be a nightmare. Because it's too thin. All right. My nib's collecting garbage. It's my garbage nib. Here we go. What is that? Oh, that's a back view. That's cool, man. Back view of the ship. So cool. Hope you guys can see this. A lot of this is small detail. I may go and thicken some of these ships up just so they stand out. But it's always better to go thin than too thick off the top, because it's easier to build the line than it is to diminish the line, because diminishing the line entails white paint and it gets horrible. Kind of don't want to do that. So yeah, look at the thickness on the bottom of this. It's working better. So I think I'm going to go a little bit darker on some of this. And the reason you can on these lower areas is because it's the hint of a shadow. So I don't know if you can see the ship. It's starting to pop now versus this one here because there's a little bit of a shadow there. And I might come in with a pencil later after I get it all structured up with the ink and add shadows and some rendering. When I do my own stuff, sometimes, when I pencil my own work, I don't put the rendering in. I just kind of structure it up, then I ink it, and then I put the rendering in later. So I'm coming back in, giving the ship a little bit more weight. I'm going to thicken up this side of the cockpit, not the other side. Because if I put the thickness on this side, it won't look like a shadow. So those ships are pretty much structured in the front two. Got to do the little escape pods on the sides. This ship is bad, shut your mouth. It's kind of a little bit of a hero in the story. I like vehicles that are heroes, like the Batmobile or the Black Beauty. Even when Bond had the Aston Martin with all the ejector seats and all that cool stuff. Hell, I even liked, what was that show, that movie? Was it Chitty Bang Bang? That's actually what the movie was called. It was called Chitty Bang Bang, I believe. I think that was written by that Ian. What is the guy? The Bond guy, right? Ian Fleming. Did he? I don't know if there's somebody in the chat. Let me know if Ian Fleming wrote Chitty Bang Bang. I know some author, some English author of note, wrote it. Because I don't know, for some reason it's coming to mind because that Chitty Bang Bang movie is pretty much, kind of like the Bond car. The Bond car. That's another franchise I'm not looking forward to. Any more Bond movies? Sweet Mama Jamma. I love it when a plan comes together. So this is kind of a clock tower at the center of Chrono Incorporated. There's going to be a lot of timepieces and gears and machinery in this story. And if you guys could, if there's anybody new in the chat, hit that like button. Possibly tweet out to your friends if they like artists drawing comic books, bringing comic books together. Let me see the chat. I think I saw a new entry, which is Slick Rick. Yes, it was Ian Fleming. Yes, and Roald Dahl did. Oh my gosh, I almost said that. Ronald, or was it Roald Dahl, or however you say that guy's name. I almost said that. So it was both those guys. Pretty cool. So that Dahl, that's like Willy Wonka, right? And James and the Giant Peach. Am I right there? Fleming was Christopher Lee's first cousin, just as a by the way. Thank you. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. Oh, the Nautilus. Yeah. Oh, I'm going back in the chat. Holy crap, man. The Disney 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, sweet mamma jamma. That ship design is still flawless, man. That Nautilus. It's weird because what did they do? That Extraordinary Gentleman movie, from the Alan Moore. What the heck, man? That design, what the heck was that? That Nautilus? That thing was horrible looking. It was like it was a little foo-foo, I thought. It was weird. The Invisible Jet, yep. Although, in a realistic world, in a contemporary comic sense, Invisible Jet, that's going to be a tough sell. When Taylor was working in the studio here, we used to come up with how would you sell the idea of an invisible jet, and one of the ideas is, like we have stealth technology and things, so it's not quite as far-fetched as maybe it once was, but I don't think you could do it the way they used to, where it was really an invisible jet and you could see her through it. Yeah, I think that would be a little tough. It'd be a little tough sell there. Doesn't that movie Chitty Bang Bang have a intermission? Is that movie like super long? I remember as a kid I was like, what? There's an intermission. So I want to see if anybody is saying that. Is it Roald Dahl? I don't know how to say that guy's name. Is he the James and the Giant Peach and the Willy Wonka? I think Slick Rick would know. He seems to be up on these things. The slickness of the Rickness. Is it getting dark? I think it's still pretty good. Still see it. So you guys can see I'm bringing in some of the thicker, more structured lines now. So I'm kind of building them up with the thinner. But at some point, this is not going to serve me any longer. So you can see with the dots and everything, it takes on I hope it's a fairly unique look, different than most of your comics, definitely different than mainstream that you're used to. I mean, the whole point I think of doing indie books is being unique to yourself and having a vision that you can only do in this kind of venue. Like Marvel, DC, they wouldn't let me do this. So I want to fully take advantage of the fact that I can try something different, something unique, perhaps something that hasn't been done before. Perhaps. Perhaps. Okay. Don't try these lines at home, kids. Actually, I'm having some fun inking these longer lines. I've been doing a bunch of those little short movements. So I'm kind of thickening up this side right here, this here and here, to show it's indented. So it's got a little bit of a side to it. And so this, I really want to be broken up. So I want it to be diminished in importance. Like it's going back, it's recessing back. Starting to see why people hum when they draw on these streams. It just feels like something you want to do. I got that cake song in my head now. Perhaps. All right, what do I want to do next? I think I'll do this. This is where that little dome piece comes in. It almost looks like one of those, remember those hockey games when you were a kid, those toys? And you drop the hockey puck down the thing, the center, and you'd have your little hockey people smack the puck around. I don't know. I'm an older guy. I don't know if you guys had the hockey games. Those hockey guys always get jacked up, man. They were just like this flat little thing with the stick. All right, Ray Thulu, Chitty Bang Bang, yes. And Ray Thulu, yes, it was Ian Fleming. Yeah, Fleming wrote, wait. I didn't scroll up. Can't remember an intermission. All I remember is, that child catcher with the net. Doll, the Witches, did the Witches and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Okay, who did that James and the Giant Peach? For some reason, can't remember intermission. I think even the Chitty Bang Bang movie in the Blu-ray or something, it has the intermission in there. It's weird. I think we have that. Junkyard Done. Japanese movies for children have intermissions built in. Real lifesaver. That's cool. You can get a little break. Yeah, I think the reason why that Chitty Bang Bang has it is because musicals, like theatrical musicals, have intermissions. So I think that movie is supposed to be somewhat of a musical, I believe. I don't know. I haven't seen it in a while, but I think there's a lot of music in that. That thing with what is that? That girl on the, she's like a puppet or something, and she's in that magic box or whatever, that Jack in the Box thing. That song's pretty cool. She was hot. Smoking. Kevin says when the car first flies, it went into it went into intermission. Thank you, Kevin. My iPad is dying and dying fast. She's going down, Captain. She's going. Oh, we lost Arthur Brown. He's a good man. Let's salute him. You're a good man, Arthur Brown. I think he'll be okay. He's a survivor. Yeah, Dahl also wrote the screenplay for one of the Bond movies. Wow. That guy got around. Holy crap. I'm gonna have to look up that guy's his, what is it, IMDb. I have an IMDb. I've been in a couple movies. James Hayes. Cyberfrog isn't in a Gemini. It's in a thick folder with a pull tab across the top. Thick, hard piece of cardboard inside. Arrived in great condition. No damage. So James is one of the lucky ones. All right, flaunt it in our face. James got it, Cyberfrog. Congratulations. James, that wasn't meant for Raythulu. Hey, LOL. I think we're all hurt by your words, James. Kevin, Benny Hill. That was Benny Hill. Sweet Mama Jamma. This stuff is all coming back to me. You guys are awesome. Well, coming back to me. Yeah, because you guys are telling me. Raythulu, I could tell. Okay. I think we're caught up. Are we caught up? No, we're not caught up. You guys are awesome. I'm not going to get any more inking done. If you have to draw that again or at another angle, are you just going to guess where all those details go? Or won't it matter? If you have to draw. Oh, there is another there is another page with the Chrono satellite in it. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Yeah, you know, we could cheat it and just use the same shot. Matilda was another notable one. No, Slick, say it is not so. That dude, is he still alive? Man, you talk about a prolific career. They had an intermission to charge the film. Oh, because it was a long film. Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, it felt long. So, I don't know, was it 3 hours? 3-hour tour. All right, I'm getting back. I'm going back. You guys have all the knowledge. So was that Chitty Bang Bang? Was that a British like film company that made that? It felt like it was. Man, that girl that played the love interest in the, was it Julie Scrumptious? Is that her name? Man, could she not have more of a Julie Andrews vibe? Wasn't there a grandfather that was like in a pith helmet and he went traveling in a outhouse, kind of went out up style with balloons or some kind of crazy thing? Man, that movie was insane. Somebody should do one of those matchups with that movie and Bond, like have Bond jump into the Chitty Bang Bang car with that Bond song in the background. Okay. Ships Ahoy. There's a little fin right here. Yeah, I think after I'm done with all the structure, I'm going to have to come in and possibly do some shadows to pull out some details. so these ships can pop a wee bit more. Well, it's coming together. I think I'm going to ink some of the bigger stuff just so you guys can get a variety and see me ink something different instead of just all the little nitpicky stuff. So as promised, if I can get this thicker nib to work, we'll start doing some of these lines. So usually if this was a Marvel DC book or even black and white, I would use a French curve on these. But part of the charm of Chrono Mechanics, is freehand lines. I think it just adds an organic kind of, I don't know, more, I don't have a word for it. It's just organic, less sterile. See how thick this line is? So I don't have to really, I am going to build it up in places. Well, you know what? I might not. Actually, that was pretty killer. So this nib is an older nib, and I kept it around for just such an occasion. So if I would have used that thinner nib, I would have had to go in and draw. Sorry for the sliding. I'd have to go in and draw those thicknesses in. But with this nib that's broken in, and it's a little bit more blunted on the end, that it leaves a thicker line. So that's, I said it earlier, but maybe it was on the part 1 of the ink stream, that somebody asked me about nibs, and I said I kind of keep the old ones. One, you get more use out of it, so you get your money out of it. But two, like stuff like what I'm doing right now, I wouldn't have been able to do with the nib I was inking that smaller stuff with. So it has its purpose, and also, like I said, you get more use out of it. So you get your money out of it, your money's worth out of it. And we're all starving artists. None of us are really getting rich. So I remember when I first started making some pretty good money, I went to the art supply place, and I found myself just buying 1 or 2 nibs like I usually do because I never had any money. And then it dawned on me, I was like, I could buy a box of these nibs. I have the money. And so after that, you just find yourself just buying, a bunch of art supplies, even stuff that you might not, use, but you're thinking like, I'd like to experiment with that or this or the other thing. And so I still remember that was a good time for me, having enough money to buy, just indulge in art supplies. It still is kind of like Christmas for me. My daughter is an artist, and so we would enjoy going down to Art Supply Warehouse, and we would just buy a bunch of art supplies. And then there was a place called Bob's Burgers. It's on the corner, and we love the show, the TV show, the cartoon. And so we'd go there and get a Bob's Burger. Yeah. she's older now, so we don't spend as much time as we used to, which is kind of sad, but the way it, excuse me, the way it's supposed to be. Man, I gotta get some water here. Hey, my wife came in. Say hi to everybody.
Hi, everyone.
I was telling them that you're downstairs writing the script for the Chrono Indiegogo video.
Yeah, I brought it up for you to read later.
So we're going to go over it. Are we going to fine-tooth comb it?
Yep.
Cool. So you got to be real careful. I don't want this line too thick. And so even the thicker lines, with this style, you can do the dots and dashes to show it's going off into space. In this case, actual space. Deep space. I'm fighting with myself whether I'm going to do the background as a solid black, though. So I probably should not count on these blacks back here. I should put a good line on this. Narwhal does this cool stuff where he knocks out some of the black line. It looks real cool. And so maybe I'll give him an option. I'll ink this line like a holding line and not ink the black in, so maybe he'll have less work as far as cutting shapes out. And so this right here, you guys might not be able to see it very well, but this is a dome. So one thing I can do, if I was going to leave this black, is, let me see my pencil. I could do this inside stuff as a series of cross hatches to show that the black is dispersed where this glass dome is. Well, it's probably not glass, but some kind of force dome. Ooh. Aren't you glad I went with the thicker nib? It's coming together. Okay, little dot dashes there. Chrono Ink satellite. Check. Page 1. Almost there. All right. Nibs collected some crap. I see some new names in the chat. Let's see. We got Comics Legend. Let me back up though. You guys are awesome. Intermission. Nope. He's dead now. Oh no. I think his granddaughter Sophie was a supermodel too. But she was a plus size one. I haven't seen her in the media. That was years. Okay. So Captain Hiltz, is that it? I always got that movie and Mary Poppins mixed up. I know, because they got like the same type actress in there, like a Julie Andrews type. And then 4 years, Slick Rick says, Junkyard done, freehand lines, makes the image seem more alive. I agree. I totally agree. Less sterile. James Hayes, out of curiosity, how much instruction does the penciler give a colorist when he worked on a page? In essence, how much freedom does Narwhal have when coloring your work? He always gets a first pass. Like I don't tell him anything, so I really trust his judgment. And for the most part, I mean, he nails it. So the one reason I wanted to work with Narwhal the most is he has an interesting color sense, and he'll take a scene, and then that scene will have like a color palette to it. So every time you see that scene, it has those same colors to it. So it's a type of storytelling with the coloring. So he does that really, really well. And it's kind of a cell shade animated type style. And the way I'm drawing is similar. So I want this book to look unique and different. And I think he is a unique and different artist. So I really like that idea. So he gets the first pass at it, and then I'll send him notes. And usually, at that point, there's an understanding, and then we move on. At the beginning, there was a lot of back and forth, but there is with any new working relationship like this. But I think he's got a rhythm. He kind of knows what I'm looking for, and I understand his process a little bit more as well. So it's looking really good. As far as Marvel DC work, I would try to have input. I remember working on a Superman cover. I think it was an Action Comics cover that I penciled and inked, and I was working with this colorist, and I was trying my heart out to get certain things from him, and he just was not even being accommodating on it. And I remember asking the editor, and the editor is like, I don't care. So it was kind of heartbreaking that there was a lot of compromise on my part, and things I didn't really want, but you have to do it because it's an assembly line and you don't own the characters. So with like Black and White and Chrono Mechanics, I have more of the ultimate say. But what I want to do is I want to find people that I can partner with that I don't have to micromanage. I mean, that I trust, that I like their vision, and Narwhal is definitely one of them. So I think we got like 10 pages, close to 10 pages done, and they all look pretty good. And if you want, you can check them out. There's a couple panels on the Indiegogo pre-launch Chrono Mechanics page, and there's a couple panels of his work there. And I don't know, I'm talking about the Chrono Mechanics a lot. This is them. This is the cover. So this is the line art for the cover. So the color version is also on that Indiegogo page, the pre-launch Indiegogo page. You know what? Let me see. I can maybe put it into the chat if I have it here. Yes, I do. Copy StreamYard. I will paste. So if you guys don't know, I have a new book coming out. It's called Chrono Mechanics, and it's about time repairmen. And I have a pre-launch Chrono Mechanics pre-launch page. And if you sign up now, it's only going to be up for another week before I go live. You will have access to exclusives and some freebies. So if you sign up now, you'll be eligible for those things. The only way you can get those things is through the pre-launch. So that's why I'm really kind of pushing that right now. So the link is in the chat. So if you want, click on it. I'll be here. Sign up real quick and then come back. And we can continue this craziness, this crazy fun that we are having. I'm reading as I'm, okay, Comics Legend art. This looks like it was already done digitally. Why draw over it? Well, if you just came into the chat, you probably can't see it, but the ink line is definitely not what these pencil lines look like. It is digital, but the style that I'm putting over is very organic and very unique. So I think it would probably be pretty impossible to actually pencil this digitally the way I'm inking it. So the reason I'm doing it this way is because that's the Chrono style, so to keep everything on model and to keep things consistent with style. So if this was a more technical looking book, then the digital look would be fine. Even though I'm not completely crazy about the digital look, I think there's some guys that can do it pretty well, but there's others that it's not. It just kind of looks like if you have two people that are doing a digital style, they can look fairly generic. It can look real similar because is it SketchUp? I've seen stuff like this and I've inked stuff like this, and I think they use SketchUp. And the problem with this is everybody that uses SketchUp or they use those programs, it all starts to look the same. So, it's still up to an ink artist to come in there and give it a little bit of flair, to give it some style, to give it some life, actually, And so that's what I'm doing right now. And that's kind of the Chrono style. It's more of an organic approach. That's why I'm not taking rulers to this. But the good thing about it being drawn so technical is that I don't have to question the line, meaning I don't have to structure this piece up with the ink. It's really, really structured already. So all I have to do is kind of put a cool, funky, organic line on it, and to make it come alive, which is what I'm attempting on doing right now. My pin's being a wang dang. There we go. So since this is heavy structure, and like I said earlier, this is black. This could be black on black, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink all this structure back here like there is no black back here, and I'll give Narwhal options, so maybe he doesn't have to knock back the black, so it'll give him some freedom and maybe make it easier for him, because then he doesn't have to cut all that stuff out. So I hope that answered your question about why the digital. Why ink it? I don't know. Nothing against digital, but I think this looks a lot cooler. And see this line I'm putting down now, you guys? I could never have done this with that thinner ink nib. So there's something to, using an older nib that's worn. All right, so I like this thickness here, thin, thick and then thin again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back into here and try to thicken up in here so it matches the structure here. So like I said, the creative process is not a linear one. So you kind of want to go back and forth sometimes. Boom, baby. Whoa, it's slipping. Time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future. That's Steve Miller with a deep mofo. The deepest of the deep. All right. The structure is taking shape. The screw head. Boom, baby. I don't know, because I said I was going to ink this till it's done. We're closing it on 9. Are you guys still good? Should I keep going? Because that's what my plan is, but I mean, keep going with the stream. I don't know if I'm boring you or if you guys are completionists like I am, that you'll hang out and see the thing through. Because you never know. Art might mess up. He might go outside of the lines. He might zig instead of zag. But you guys can see it now. See like the thickness and see how this is starting. The depth is created here with the thinner lines. And actually, I thought this was a mistake at first, these thicker lines. But looking at this compared to this, this is where I'm probably using the wrong tool here. I should probably use that thinner one again. But I'm going to use it anyway. So thicken this up a little bit. And these bigger office structures will stand out a little more. And then for consistency, bring this around here. And thicken this up a wee bit. And just a little bit there. Yeah. Now we talking. Okay. Boom, baby. Chrono Incorporated. So I'm inking this top line fairly solid, this line here. And if you notice, I haven't been inking the one underneath it. And I'll show you why. In uno momento. Okay, I'm going to break this line up a little bit because it is diminishing away from everything. So the idea is kind of, as things recess, they kind of are more broken, less in focus. Or I mean, not less broken, more broken. Excuse me. And I'll probably come back and thicken this line up, but I want to get to that secondary line that I had teased. But I want to finish my train of thought here. Okay. So you know what? I'm going to try the thinner nib just because I want to do something very specific. And I don't trust that thicker one. So what I'm going to do with this, because this is kind of the edge. It's a structure, but it's an interior structure. So I want it definitely thinner to prioritize the line. So that's why I'm using this nib. And while I'm here, I got a little inspiration to do one of these ports. And I probably should use that thicker nib for these ports, but it's a little clumsy and I don't trust it. So I need them to be pretty crisp. So I'm going to use this nib, but I'm going to have to build the line a little bit. So here we go. Still doing a little secondary. And then this is hit me for inspiration. Come in. Boom. I will go to the chat. I know I asked a question if I should continue. So let me know in the chat. And as soon as I get these lines, I will check it. Check it out. So here's this line again. Okay. Dot. And then this touches this. So I'm going to continue. Give a little bit of dots there. Bring it around. Picking it up. Okay. Wow, this is pretty cool. Wonder who designed this. He might have a future. And brilliantly executed by Render Contender. I could have been a contender. Yeah, Render Contender, when he started his career in comics, he actually started it here at Hack Shack Studios. I did not know that. We recently got reacquainted at a convention, and he literally exposed himself to me. No, he told me. He asked me, "Do you remember me?" And I was like, no. And then he started explaining, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember you. You had a lot of talent. You had a lot of talent there, kid. You're gonna go far." And what? How many years has it been? 20 years later, we're actually working together on Chrono Mechanics. Crazy. Small world. After all. Excuse me. Chrono Incorporated. All right. I'm going to try to zip along so I can get back to the chat and see if you guys want me to continue. Because I'll go and go and go until this amazing piece of artwork is finished. Broken lines. Broken lines. All right. All I have is this area here. And sometimes I got to flip the page. I know it's probably very off-putting, giving you guys vertigo, but the reason I do is so I can spin the page to get around the wet ink. So if you notice there was wet ink here, so I spun the page so I can start working over here. So one of the key things about inking and inking fast is to be aware of where your wet ink is, so you don't put your hand in it, because even somebody as experienced as myself, I still do it from time to time. Okay, I'm going to finish this little side of the port. Then I'm going to read the chat. Chitta. See what the chitta chatta is. All right, there's that. You guys check that bad boy out. All right, Nighthawk Warrior's here. Woohoo! The Warrior. Vilnid Malin premieres. Oh, I got to go back further. Did Tag go raid Area 51? She may have. I don't know, man. Oh, Jay Potts is in it too. Wow, you guys have been very busy in the chat. Comics Legend, Black and White shipped. Okay, I'll get to that. All right. So we have How's Your Father? Okay, has Black and White shipped? I haven't even checked yet. Oh, okay. So anybody out there, let me get a drink of water first, that has back Black and White. It is now at the printers. It's been there for 2 weeks now. They say it's about a 2.5 week or 2.5 month process. So it's going to be sometime in November, you guys. I tried my hardest. There's a Chinese holiday. They take off an entire week. And so even with if I paid the extra for, I guess they can do it faster if you pay them more money, it's only going to be an extra week, that I'll save. So it would be nice to be able to get the books to you guys a week sooner, but it just didn't make much sense for the amount of money that they wanted. So, oh my gosh, my dinner's coming up. So just to back up, Chrono Mechanics, pencils, inks, colors, lettering, it's all done. It's all done. It's at the printers right now. So they've had it for about 2 weeks. They say in November where we'll get the book, and then we can start going into fulfillment after that. The good thing, you guys, is my wife is the one that's going to be in charge of the fulfillment, and she's already on top of it. We have everything ordered. So we have all the Gemini boxes. We have all the Mylar plastic bags. We have all the protective goodies. We have most of the stretch goals. Wait a minute. We have most of the stretch goals done. I think the only one we don't have is the trading card, and the trading card is at the printers as we speak. So we should get that soon. I believe the ash cans just went to the printers today. My wife went to the printer, and that ash can, you guys, I paid the extra money, so I upgraded the cover. So the cover is going to be like triple thickness. from what we originally, and I think it's going to have some kind of like slightly shiny, not like overly shiny, but that, if this makes sense, matte shine to it. So it's not going to be like, it's going to blind you when it hits the light. So it's going to be very cool. It looks very cool. The paper stock and everything. So we upgraded the ash can for you guys. And let me think, what else? Oh, for the calendars, I know it's been a while, and so the calendar's kind of outdated. So we went back to print on that at cost. So, out of pocket, I should say, to get you guys a 2020 calendar. So you'll have an updated calendar. I'll probably ship the original calendar. Well, maybe. I'm not sure. So don't hold me to that. But we have a bunch of calendars here that we already have printed up. So I don't know what else to do with them. So I think that pretty much catches up us up on black and white. So thank you so much for backing, everybody, and thanks for your patience. So Comics Legend says, okay. Martial Law, hey, Martial Law. Todd McFarlane's digital stuff doesn't look as good as his pen and ink on paper. Yeah, I agree. I dig that. I dig his line, man. You know why? Because, like, I don't know. There's a certain, like, when you make a mistake, it adds character to the work. I was going to say this earlier, but I'm just going to say it humanizes it. So the flaws and those things humanize the work. If it's too digital, it's perfect. Even when you digitally ink, there's part of the program that little shakiness or quirkiness, it'll like, it won't register. It'll just kind of ink it perfectly. And there are some people that can do it very, very well. So I'm not going to say they don't, and that I hate it and I don't like it. But for the most part, it's just not as cool to me. And it's not because I'm an ink snob. It's not. It's just, if it looks cool and it looks awesome and inspired, I'm all about it. And I don't care how it's done. So Kevin says, fans like to buy original art, something that is lost when you go digital. Thank you again. You guys are speaking all my cool mouth music here. That was weird. That was weird what I said right there. So Vilnid, is that a giant screw in the clockwork of the universe? Yes, it could be a metaphor for screw in the universe. I don't know. But it looks like a giant screw. And that was by design. You're welcome. So Nighthawk Warrior, hi everyone. Yep, hi. Martial Law, hello. J Potts, how are you? The guy's name that I can't say, Fugoli, Fugoli. I don't know how to say that. Do you Devo? Is that to me? Do I Devo? I don't. Are you Devo? We are not men. We are Devo. DEVO. Martial Law. Okay, you guys are hanging out. Good. Make friends. Comics Legend. Did Tag go raid? Okay, we're all. Wait. Did I go back? What the heck did I do? But two splash page. Oh, okay. Oh, it jumped. Okay, I was looking off, and then I looked back, and then the chat moved. Okay. Mail-in premieres at 9. What is Mail-in premieres at 9? Is that a new show of his? I gotta check that out. Mail-in at 9. I'm currently drawing a new character of mine. Cool. James Hayes. You are not boring, Art. We will hang around and chat a bit as long as you want to go. Oh, thank you, man. If you're bored with us, no. Invite a friend on. I may. Martial Law. I don't really do that. Just to be totally honest, I'm always afraid I'm just going to crash these live shows. So I just kind of stick with what I know. My Patreon is Nighthawk Warrior, and I have my sketch cards as a tier for $3. So I don't know Nighthawk Warrior. He sounds like a good guy. He's got a Patreon, so go check him out. Check him out. Martial law on my character, but to fly, I'm strong. I'm still designing the costume. You guys are awesome. I'm hanging out with a bunch of artists here. Martial law sounds cool. I'm getting a John Byrne vibe from the art. Ooh, is that Nighthawk's drawn like John Byrne? I love John Byrne. Keep going. That's great. Thank you, Kevin. You know what? John Byrne story. I tried so hard. I solicited that man personally. I wanted to ink him. He hates inkers. He hates inkers. I don't think he has a nice thing to say about anybody that holds a pen. My favorite artists in comics are Tom McFarlane, Jim Lee, and Frank Miller. Jack Kirby, Art, how are you doing? I'm doing good, Nighthawk. Thank you for asking. What's Black and White about, like basic origin or story? Let me see. November is fine. It would be great to get it before Christmas. Yeah, you know what? It really should be there before Christmas. And if I know my wife the way I do, she will kick so much butt and move heaven on and earth to get you those books, because that's what kind of person she is. So what is Black and White? Black and White is a vigilante story about an ex-spy, ex-MI10 spy, British Secret Service. So this is Black and White is kind of in the far-flung future, not too far. And robots have kind of become the norm. So there are laws. We call them, what do we call them? I forgot what we call them now. The 3 laws of robotics. We just stole them from, I forget the writer now, the iRobot guy. Holy sweet whatever. I can't believe I forgot his name. But anyway, so there's the robotics laws. And so if you create a law, you have to have law enforcement. So MI10 is the British Secret Service division that specialize in law enforcement with robots. So if there's a robotic crime or somebody's doing illegal robotic activities or something with a robot or a rogue robot or whatever, they go out and basically infiltrate, just like a spy, and even terminate if need be. So he's kind of like he's like James Bond, but if James Bond was mainly, you know, like against robots, like fighting against robots and things like that. So he's kind of the best of the best as far as MI10, as a robot fighter, as infiltrating, understanding the psyche of a robot, you know, all those things. He's amazingly good at it. So, but the thing is, at this moment in time where the story takes place, the story proper, he loses his taste for it. He realizes that to be a spy, you have to have a certain level of moral flexibility, and he's becoming less and less flexible, let's say. So he's kind of losing a taste for killing without conscience, taking orders and not questioning why, just being, that type of soldier per se. And so he retires. And so he retires from being a spy. And because he's so, high up in the food chain as far as MI10, he retires with like benefits. So they kind of look the other way, and they let him let him have a normal life, even though he knows a lot of secrets about them and all those other, those little tidbits. Because I always wondered, if you were a spy and you just wanted to retire, how would you go about that? You would know so much dirt. Like, it almost seems like the way it would have to end if you were a spy is they would have to just either erase your brain or put you down. So anyway, so he's in retirement mode. And so since he's a spy and he's a man of the world, he has an import-export business. So he's trying to go legit, man. He's just trying to be a normal guy, have a normal business. And so he has an import-export company. And so he meets this woman, this fantastic businesswoman, and she runs an up-and-coming brewery in China. And so he finds out about this. They run an excellent brewery. They make an excellent product. He wants to import, export, or export this commodity, because that's what he does. And so he gets to know her and the family, because it's a small family, run brewery and everything. And so he kind of becomes the savior of this. That's just kind of his natural go-to, is he's a good guy. He's a savior type. He looks out for people by nature. And so he starts realizing that this person from her past is coming back. And he's coming back in the form of wanting to buy the brewery out from under the family. It's like a hostile takeover. So I'm telling you the whole story, you guys. So basically, he is a white knight. He's a good guy. So with his training and his understanding of these things, he takes it upon himself to look into what's going on. And he finds out that this guy is a really, really bad guy and has been running illegal, robotic stuff and black market stuff and things like that. So just to wrap it up, he befriends her and tries to help her, but he realizes that he can't do it as a spy and he can't do it as a civilian. So he ends up becoming like a hybrid, a vigilante. So he dons on a uniform, a suit, an old MI10 protective battle garb to fight robots with, that's ancient and outdated. And so he kind of becomes a vigilante. Well, he does become a vigilante to help her. And then you find out that she really isn't a damsel in distress, that she's capable somewhat of helping herself. So then she dons on a similar suit, and then they team up to basically overcome her past and to fight that and to bring justice. So that's kind of it in a long-winded way. I wish I had the quicker pitch prepared, but that's kind of the story there. And so volume 1 is done. It's at the printer, and there will be a volume 2, which will be the follow-up and conclusion to Black and White. And I can't wait to do that. I have the treatment all written out, so that's done. And I'm hoping to get Chrono Mechanics done fast enough that I can get right into Black and White and get volume 2 into your hands. So let me go back to the chat, and I'm going to start inking again. Hey, give me the wars, artwork, digital looks blah to me. Yeah, drawn by hand, like handmade comic pages, art. I have nothing against digital, but I prefer original art. Same. I think I read most of these. Eisenhoff, yeah, Eisenhoff, yeah. Thank you, martial law. I have nothing against. It's weird. This thing scrolls sometimes, and then sometimes it doesn't. So I don't see your stuff here. Wow, cool. Black and White sounds cool. How long has it been around? New, older characters. Well, the original was done in 1994. It came out at the Image heyday. So don't expect that version. This is a completely different version of that, even though it's partially based on that 94 story, but it's not that 94 story. It's quite a bit different. So yeah, I can't wait to bring that back. We'll get that shipped out to you guys and then start working on Chrono. I mean, finish up Chrono and then start on Black and White Volume 2 for you guys. So yeah, you got more than you bargained for on that one. So the chat, they're like, just ink, get it done. I want to go to bed. I want to go to bed. So we got this, we got this, we got this. So I'm going to start doing my dots and dashes as I go back here and then connect and connect. All right. Circles are always a pain, but I will try to keep the integrity of that one in. And let's do this. Oh, you know what? I got to remember. I'm going to have to mark this. I have to write incorporated here. Because it's not just Chrono, it's Chrono Inc. Before I ink in there and forget. All right. It's getting past my bedtime. No, it's not. It was a joke. It's a bad joke. All right, so I'm kind of perplexed here. I don't think I'm going to ink that line. Not sure what it means. All right, so let's go some dots, dashes. Bring this around. Another thing to remember, you guys, when you're inking, even if they're little lines like this, as they get closer, bear down a little bit on the nib and you'll make the line thicker. So it'll give the illusion that it's coming forward. Man, these little ships are incredible. Render outdid himself. I think I should do this as a splash or like a bigger, like a zoom in or something, because this detail is incredible. It's nutty. The dude's a nut. Okay, little engines back here. I know I'm probably breaking his heart right now because he's like, you're putting that organic line? This stuff was all structured so tightly. Yes, my friend, I am. Okay, so I got the top of this ship. Okay, these are the little escape pods. Okay, that one looks done. So I got the 3 on the left done. This one's done except for the intake. That's up here. Yes, that worked out. All right, I got the cockpit to finish here. A little escape hatch. All right, now I got my intake. To do. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, got this little caution strip across the top here. So that's that ship done. Now I just have one more to do. Okay. Little detail here. Like some kind of generators. All kinds of stuff when you're repairing time ships. Okay, I'm probably mumbling, you guys, so I apologize. When my head's down like this and I'm focusing on the little details, I tend to mumble. I mumble for you. I mumble for you. Okay, caution strip, intake, intake. Do, 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 do. Cockpit, intake. The little escape pods. My nib is dirty and the ink was drying up. Oh, ooh, ink is flowing good now. Okay, little escape pods and boom, baby. Finish the cockpit side or back. Boom. Okay. I don't know about these. Well, maybe if I redirect them. These little wire things, if they're read properly. Okay. Little detail here. Okay, boop, 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 scanning for lines that need to be inked still. Some right here. Do. All right. So ships are all done. Got a couple circles here. And I got some detail here, which is cool. Like little arrows. All right. Wow. Cool. Coming together. Some of the front detail. I wonder if these ports should have more detail. It's weird because this is all like really detailed and then this looks kind of simple. So I wonder if there should be more like little surface details on the screw part. I wonder. All right. Boom. Okay, that's that. That's that. That's that. Boom. Okay, this one's going to really be broken up because it's going away from us. We have these little circles here. Little ports or something. Sweet Mama Jamma. Okay, I got the clock tower, and then this little piece here that looks like it's the thread for the screw, or where the screwdriver goes in. Boom, pow. All right. So close. So close. Okay, we got inner clock face here. Okay. These look like clock hands. Okay. So now I think this is based on one of the previous Chrono books that had this little clock tower thing in it. Yeah, I may go in and thicken up some of these lines, the more structured ones, tomorrow morning. Once again, you guys, never be afraid to go in and rework something. Clock face, and then this one, which I've kind of been procrastinating on because it's so amazing looking. You guys probably don't see it because it's in blue line. I must focus. I don't know, when I ink, even when I'm inking myself, I'm like, I don't want to let the penciler down. I want to be true to their vision. It's coming together. The next piece I'm really looking forward to is this beam. Like I said, that little piece that looks like the screw slot for the screwdriver. I wonder if that has a name. The screw slot. You know, the screw slot. Okay, so this looks like it's getting into the inside structure of the clock face. So I'm going to dissipate the little bottom lines. Okay, so now we have the clock face details. All right. Boom. Time keeps on slipping to the future. I could ink this with a like Micron or something, but I believe some of the character, you'd lose some of the character in the line, because I believe that it would make things look more perfect, too clean. Yes. Okay, so here's kind of what I was talking about, thickening up some stuff. So I do like this line that I thought that I accidentally had done too thick, but it really looks cool in the big scheme of things. So I'm not going to go over everything. Like I said, I'm going to do that tomorrow, but I just want to show you a little bit about what I mean. See how that kind of came out. And I have to do these little details here. They're like office buildings, these right here. So they have like office windows. So the uppity muckety mucks can look at all the grunt repairmen fixing their time ships. Okay, so you can see this. You can see this is a little bit like starting to compete with it as far as weights. This line right here is probably one of these. So I'm going to thicken this up as well. And so you can see this center building. It's kind of weak. Kind of got the weak sauce. Hold on. I'm going to clean my nib. And it's kind of warm here. So my ink is drying up. So I'm going to add some more Pelican to my well so I can get a nice flow. Take a sip. And get back. Yeah, so I'm probably going to ink a couple of these ports. I'll ink this piece here for you guys, thicken up some of these just so you can see what I'm talking about, and then wrap it up for the night. That's the plan. You got to have goals, man. You got to have a plan. Life works better when you have a plan. I don't know. I'm just making that up. I've never been a big overly planner type. I kind of like just making up stuff as I go along. Keeps life interesting. Oh, look at that. I'm glad I could show you this. Even though it's small, you can kind of go in there and structure it up better with a thicker line. Wow, this stuff's looking cool. And it's looking a little bit more cartoony. Thicker lines tend to, I don't know why, but they tend to be more like cartoon type style. I guess it's just part of the language that has been established. Oh, yeah. Man, I'm falling in love with myself. Just kidding. Or am I? I think this is probably the longest I've ever been on drawing for you guys or inking for you guys. And as long as you like it, I will continue. I am here as your humble servant. Besides, I'm here every night anyway. It's not like I'm going anywhere. Okay. I don't know. I am going to go in and pump up some of these ships a little bit just because I want them to pop a tad more. So I'm going, yeah, I'm going to have to. I'm going to use my thicker blunted nib to do this line here. And cross your fingers. This is, look at that. See, already the thing is being a jerk. Why? Why? All right, let's see if the next one better. Okay. Also, when you use, oh, you know what? I see something. There's some crap on the tip of it. There's a little piece of something in there. This is interesting YouTube, isn't it, you guys? I hope you're still enjoying yourself. All right, let's do this again. All right. Okay. I am starting to realize something here. It may be falling apart structurally. So I'm going to show you guys something, and I did it on one of the other streams. I'm going to go back to my sharp nib, but I am going to see if I can put this on a template, because you can kind of see structurally this thing's falling apart, and it'll still look organic, but I'm going to put it on a template because the line is starting to lose some of the structure. So you want it to look organic because that's the charm, but at the same time, you don't want it to lose structure. You don't want it to fall apart structurally. And that's what was happening. And there's something here. This thing it wasn't penciled. That's what it is. It wasn't penciled. It's structured as some of the other stuff. So when I put the organic line on it, it was losing the structure, which is some of what I was telling you guys earlier. So we just got to see an example of that here. So we have that. So let me finish up. There's a lot of ink there. Don't want to put my hand in it. There's these little cross details. So it still looks fairly organic, and I can do some stuff to make it more organic as well. So what you can do, make sure you have a really sharp nib to do this, is you can kind of go over the line a little bit freehand, and what it will do is it will, and you guys also, this is like chrono mechanics style, but some of this can be applied to other things as well. So just keep that in mind. Like every style is slightly different, so every approach won't be exactly the same. But this is kind of a cool ink, I guess, tip that you can do is you can structure things up with rulers, and then you can kind of make them organic again, or just go over them slightly to make them look a little less technical. It depends on the artist, depends on the style, it depends on the look you want. But it can be done. Look at that. Boom, baby. Okay. I don't quite understand this. Looks like a little trim, not trim, but little detail. Okay, so let's do a little dot dash action. Let's bring this down here. And boom. And then we have little surface details here. Okay, so as promised, a port or two. So this side here, broken line. This side here, broken line. And when I bring this together, you will see why. I'm gonna have a bunch of people. I'm just giving how to ink and draw the Chrono Mechanics way. Inking and drawing the Chrono Mechanics way. This is a very specific style that I made up. So these are the rules that I've made up for this specific book. I don't ink like this on any other book. This is it, Ming. It's a one-off style. Okay, so here I'm going to do the same with the dot. This will be solid, and then this one will be dotted again. Thing is, I think there may be a problem because these ports are big, so they're going to be inked thicker. There's something rhythmically going on here. I have to figure it out. Because one of the things when you're inking, you want everything to have harmony. So even though there's thin lines and thick lines, you want there to be it to look like one complete piece. I'm really happy with this. This is coming out good. It's a good way. It's a nice way to start a book. Okay, so this port right here will have a solid line and start breaking up at the end and then go solid again. So I don't know, maybe some detail. I think there's probably I believe I drew it on the little sketch that I did, but like a heavy cast shadow here. So that might help bring these two pieces together. And so I'm going to keep it connected here and here. And then as I go into here, I'm going to dot it the same way I did that. So there's the port. And the ports will probably have shadows. Something here. I can show you kind of what I'm talking about, and then I'll wrap this up for you guys. I appreciate you hanging with me. What was okay? So, let's say the light source is going this way from left to right, even though I want it to go this way. Let's stick with the original plan. Okay, so it would, the shadow, and I'm not sure if it'll be black or hatched yet. I have to figure out what the rhythm and balance will be for this. So, you know, like if I do like a solid black here, I got to somehow bring some blacks into here so that it can all balance out. So if I do a real heavy black here, it would hold its own, to be honest, against this black space background. So there's that. But I'll be figuring that. It's late. I'm kind of tired. So I'll be doing that tomorrow. And then if the light source is coming in this way, then I'll probably shadow these ports a little bit on this side. And maybe a few lines in here. Something like that. They're like little boom tubes, boom, boom, yeah, that they get shot out into their timelines with. So, yeah, so really tomorrow is just figuring out some detail, figure out my blacks, finish in the incorporated. And these are like, this is like a fence. I didn't feel that's crazy detail. I didn't feel like doing that in front of you guys. So I'll do that tomorrow. And then I'll figure out these ports and figure out if I'm going to do a solid black here or what is going to happen. I'm kind of thinking a solid black, and then, like I said, do some hatching in here and then fade it. Do a lot of cross hatching and fade it into a black, so it looks a little bit like a dome, like you're looking through a dome. So it's not just a black against black. So there's kind of like some hatching to give the impression you're looking through something. Also, you can draw in a highlight. So you can make this. So like this hatch can go into a solid black, hatch goes into solid black. And then what you can do is you can hint at a highlight here. And then I could finish drawing it here, or I could just indicate it and tell Narwhal to make a highlight right here in the dome. It just depends. I mean, the light's coming in, I don't know. I'll fool around with it and see what I can come up with. But there's a lot of different angles and ways you can take this. But I think it's a fun design. It's kind of like a giant bolt out in space or a screw out in space. And that's the fun about Chrono Mechanics, is it's not too serious, and you can have fun with the designs. And wait till you guys see the characters and everything. They're absolutely hilarious. I think they're well designed. I got a lot of accolades and feedback from some animation, some really cool animation people that I admire that in some way are going to be part of this campaign, actually. So I'll be revealing that later. I'm going back to the chat. Let me move this up. I don't know if you guys, so you guys can see the whole thing here. Boom. It's a giant screw out in timeless space. Okay. Wow. Nighthawk is, what's the basic origin? Okay, I did that. Martial law, give me warts, did that. Reprinting, will there be a reprinting for black and white to download? I totally missed the campaign. What we're going to do, Eddie, thank you for asking, is we will do kind of what John Malin did. I thought it was really, really smart, where we are going to slightly overprint volume 1. So we will have that, but it will be a premium. And then I'm going to reissue volume 1 with a brand new cover. So there'll be like a first printing, second printing of volume 1 of black and white. So that's kind of the plan right now, because I think it's cool to have like the original version of it for the people that supported it first time out, and then to give the people that are coming in later the access to it, but kind of have it at a premium price. So then the people that bought in early could have that, you know, that original book at the original price. So not cool. What's the building structure? Well, this is Chrono Inc. headquarters. So this is where all the administrative is. Around the perimeter is the loading docks and the docking bays where all the repairs for the time ships. These are time ships. Let me blow it up, see if you guys can see this better. There's a shadow, but you can kind of see that's right there is the time ship. And then they move into this little bay here, and then they slide down into the base or this little tunnel section, and then they get launched out of these like boom tubes into their timelines. So the time, they're time ships, the repair ships, and this is how they get onto the commuter time stream, is they get shot out of these ports. And so the way I'm looking at it is all these things, these different segments, they'll spin and rotate like a screw. So they'll spin and rotate. So there's an unlimited amount of timelines if they just rotate it, that it will calibrate to different timelines and stuff like that. So that's why it would spin. This will never be a story point probably, but it's just part of my design process. So it might look random to you guys, but there's actually some thought that went into it. I hope you can appreciate that. I'm sure it's been answered, but what tools, ink, paper, etc., etc. Okay, this is a Hunt 102. 102 is the size of this nib, and it's a Croquill dip pin. And so I can't show you my ink well that's over on the right, but the ink is Pelican. So I pour, let me make sure this lid's on. I pour a little bit into the inkwell, and then I dip this into the inkwell, and then I use this to ink. So all of this was pretty much inked with this tool here. And then the paper, actually, I went through some of my stuff, my archives. Let's see if you can see this. It's 25-year-old Image Comics paper. So this stuff is, it's thick. Like this isn't like the flimsy, you see, like this is some DC board. Like it's thin. This stuff is dense. You can hear the difference. So the DC board is really, really good though. So I'm not bagging on the DC board. DC. But this stuff is pretty killer. And it also holds like a sheen. It kind of, the ink looks really good on it. And so that was the image paper from 25 years ago. So it's basically a Bristol board, like a Strathmore Bristol board that you can buy. But this is tailored to an inker's needs. So I remember when Image was ordering this, they asked kind of, what inkers are looking for in board. And so this was kind of tailored to our tastes. There were a few that said, I want rag. Is it cold press? That's kind of texture. It's like, what's wrong with you, man? You want the slick paper. Okay. What tools are you using on this page? Where are you going? Are you going to sell the pages? Hey, Peter, if there's a market for it, the way I look at things is some people, they hoard their art and they don't want it. They want to keep it, or they feel like if they keep it that their kids can, have it and they can sell it, and, stuff like that. I just want to make people happy. So if a piece of artwork that I've drawn or inked will make somebody happy and be in their collection and it'll mean something to them, I would rather they have it than, it collecting dust in the T-Bear vault here. So that's how I feel about original pages. So maybe I will, Peter. Maybe I'll put up some Chrono pages, and if you're still around, you can get a Chrono Mechanics page for your very own. So Kevin is back. Best looking bolt ever. Thank you. Best quote ever. You know what? Boom, Kevin. That's how much I think of you right now. And then Peter is back. Art, will you be selling pages on your campaign? Yeah, I mean, well, see, like I said, if maybe enough people like yourself, Peter, ask about it, I'll put some up and see. It's weird because I put stuff up early for black and white, and there weren't any takers. So sometimes you don't want to be public. You feel like it's public humiliation, so your pride gets involved. So I pulled it down, and then I started showing the artwork off, like on YouTube and my social media. And then, just as a humbug, I put up like patches, like panels and different like various things at a lower price. And I sold every one of them. And then I started putting complete pages up and the like. And everything I put up sold. So I think maybe it takes time for people to latch on to the project. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's not just they're fans of my work, but they kind of have to be fans of the book as well. It's not like a Superman page or an X-Men page. So I think it took people a while to realize that black and white was kind of cool and that they might want an original page, if that makes any sense. So I'll put them up and we'll see what happens. So organic structure seems like a hard balance. Yeah, inking is a lot more about balance than people think. It's balancing line weights, textures, thin, thick, prioritizing what you want people to see first, what you want people to see secondary, and then so on and so on. So there's a lot more thought work in it than just as what is this? Kevin Smith says it's just tracing the line. Yeah, it can be that. There are people that do that, but I'm not one of those guys. So Durakin's back. Hey, Durakin. It wasn't structured perfectly. Oh, gosh, listen to me. I'm getting all tongue-tied. It wasn't structured perfectly. Sounds like it's time to fire a renter contender. No. I mean, you saw how easy it was to fix. I mean, 99.9% of this stuff is right on. So, yeah, I can't fault the guy. He nailed it. He hit the nail on the head. This is a screw. I'm trying to think of a screw. He didn't screw this pooch. I don't know. I'm trying to find puns. I can't say Asuka. Asuka, I believe. So welcome to the chat. I hope I didn't butcher your name, Asuka. Add some ports in profile. Oh my gosh, dude, you are an artist. Yes, 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 yes. I thought of that. You're a freaking genius. Yeah, exactly. Like a port here. Dude, somebody's paying attention. Yes. So there would be one here, like every other one. And if I butchered your name, I doubly apologize. I hope you guys can see. I try to draw it really dark so you can see it. Oh my gosh, that was. Maybe I will fire render contender. Ha ha ha! Take that, sucker. Yeah, very cool. You are the man. Okay, thank you so much for reminding me to do that. Space is very bright. Space is very bright. Usually lots of strong cast shadows from I've seen in space. Yeah. I don't know if that would kill this, because maybe what we could do with the colors is really light this dome up. You know what I mean? So there's not a lot of cast shadows, so it's really bright. And then keep the heavy shadow here. And the more I talk, the more I think I will keep with the original idea of making the space black with like the Kirby cosmic energy. Because I also don't want to make this look like normal space, because this is kind of timeless space. It's not a normal kind of galaxy look. Hey, Blacklist Universe is in here. I'll let the colors handle that stuff. Yeah, I just might do that. It'll be the nut docking station. Yeah. Art, why don't you do cards for Mike's campaign? You know what, Mike? I love you, man. I love the self-serving nature. If I didn't, I would be like, what are you talking about, man? But you're a good guy, Mike. You know what? I would love to. I just had to turn down poor Kanan White because I was going to do that She brand cover with him, and I've been trying to get the Cyberfrog cards because Ethan asked me, but he hasn't sent me cards yet. So I'm kind of leaving my schedule open for that. So, and then I took a bunch of commissions to make some quick cash. So if I had time, I would love to do a card. You have so many. I think you just, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but I think today you said you have Aaron Lepresti. Is that true? And you have Kenneth Racafort. Is that how you say his name? So you got some heavy hitters, my friend. Heavy hitters. I think you said Sean Galloway as well. So if I'm wrong, Mike will smite me. He'll give me the smiting of my life. Gus Tyler Bush, how are you? Welcome to the chat. Hey, Art, mind making some tutorials on inking? You know what, dude? If you listen long enough, these things are becoming tutorials. Because if you wanted to know how to ink Chrono Mechanics, I just spent the last 3 hours showing you everything there is to know. Oh, man, the Kenneth one sold out. I think you added one, didn't you? Like you originally had 5, and then he was nice enough to add one. So anyways, if you guys don't know, Mike has some cool Lone Star sketch cards, and he's got a bunch of A-list guys that are doing the cards. Thank you so much for asking me, Mike. Like I said, if I had time, I would do it in a heartbeat. Randy Green, he says, etc. Oh, my old buddies from Extreme Studios, Marat and Dan Frega. It's Marat Michaels and Dan Frega. And, oh, man, you got some heavy hitters there, brother. Nice work, Tungsten EXE says. And then let me get to Duraken, and then I'm probably going to check out. So, Mike, what do you think of the giant, like, screw/bolt out in space that is Chrono Inc., the corporation in charge of, and I'm getting tired, in charge of monitoring and repairing the big machine known as time. Man, I've been talking nonstop for 3 hours. This is a record for me. The dome should be glow. Yes, Durakan. The dome, yeah, glowing inside should be generating its own lighting, so it should show less shadows inside the dome. Yes, I concur. Looks screwy. I like it. Do you see this right here, Mike? It's kind of like the slot where you would put in the screwdriver, right? Yeah, see? It's creative. And Mike, look, these are like the little time ships all around the dock here. So this is the main Chrono Inc. offices here in the center. And so then all around are the docking ports and where the repairs are done on the ships. And then these little holes right here, like elevator shafts. So the ships get dropped into here. They move down into this shaft or the bolt area, and then they're shot through these boom tubes into their respected timelines. So there's sectors basically. And so then from here they get on to the time streams and commute to the work job or the workspace or the work site, I should say. And so, yeah, these are like little boom tubes. And so the idea too is that they rotate so they can calibrate different timelines. So they can have an infinite amount of different timelines that the ships can be launched out to. So that's kind of the anti-Phillips. Yeah, it is anti-Phillips. It's a standard screw. It's a standard. Yeah, it's the new standard, some might say. So yes, thank you guys so very much for hanging out with me. I think we did this. Well, it was interrupted, so it's probably like 3 hours, 3.5 hours. So that's not bad. I'll finish it up probably tomorrow morning. Add some rendering, shadows, the like, do the space background, and then get that out to Narwhal so we can put that into the video, the Chrono Mechanics Indiegogo video. So thanks again, everybody. Thanks, Mike, for chiming in, and good luck with the cards, Mike. You got some heavy hitters there. So very good, you guys. Good night to all.